Welcome back to your MATLAB mentor, where MATLAB turns math into motion. Let's code smarter, not harder. Opening up a new episode, today we'll continue our talking about another several topics, but please make sure that you have been watched all the previous episode as they are all depend on each other. Today we'll begin with date time. So I choose date time because it's very important for any type of data, whether like different sectors, finance, weather, maybe engineering, all of this, time is very important like factor in those data. As well as we're gonna also like talk about it in the sake of actual dates, like today's date, tomorrow's date, time zones. So we're gonna cover all of this by just date time. So yeah, let's begin. So date. Okay, so we're gonna start small. Let's start with what if we wanna know our time right now in the exact same moment as we are. So if we make date time, it's already a function. So array that represents points in time. Now I do have several options. Now, maybe tomorrow, maybe yesterday. Let's try now right now. So if I press run, you're gonna give me the actual date and the actual time. But this date and time is relevant to my laptop time. So it's gonna just give you whatever time in your settings on your computer. And we can just try different options like maybe yesterday. So yesterday, today was 23 August, yesterday was 22 August, maybe tomorrow, 24, and so on. So this is the first option. We mentioned time zones. So what if I want to like know the time zone of like America versus Mexico or something like this? How I can do this? So let's create a new variable right now, like p2, and same function, date time. Let's try now. But now we're gonna choose time zone. It's very straightforward, like just the functions, which make like MATLAB really like helpful. So let's choose maybe, so I mean like any country. Okay, so yeah, it's really up to whatever time zone you want, but let's try America versus Mexico City. Okay, and then if we press run right now, we're gonna have the time. So the date with the time. But what if I wanna like the time zone like relative to Zulu? Then like we have to do something else, which is format. And format, you're gonna give me all the options like this month, day, year, hour, minute, seconds. So let's try this. This will be day, month, year, hour, minute, seconds, and this the three S's beside each other is milliseconds. And also Z is abbreviated for Zulu. So because it's time zone. Zulu is in navigation and all the stuff like Zulu is just like how time variation. Like all of us know that different countries has different time zones, so this is the same concept. So right now I specify now I want time zone to be America, Mexico City, format day, month, year, hour, minute, seconds, and milliseconds. So right now, if I press run, here we go. So he gave me the time in Mexico from 07:37:03 and this milliseconds CST. And of course, there is a time difference, but he can give you the time of anything. So let's say if you don't have like internet and you want to know the time zone of any country, you can do this by using MATLAB. Okay, so far so good. Let's move forward. So let's use datetime, but this time with a character. We said the difference between character and a string, that the character is just 1 comma. String is like this, 2 comma. Okay, so and every one, whether comma or double comma, has its own functions. So right now we are using character. So let's try this date, 24 October 2014, 12:45:07. So this is how MATLAB can read date time. So for any code, if you want to do a date time, you have to start with date, then month, then year, then hour, minute, seconds. It's basically the same like format as here, but this is the default format. So right now, if we press run, we're gonna see our date time right there. Let's differentiate between this. So let's do like something B3. So yeah, P3 now is 24 October 12:45:07. So if you want to create any time, just make sure to be in the same format. Let's move forward. Okay, let's try different format. What if I want to be in beside curly brackets? Maybe 29 October, maybe 1988. Okay, and let's call this P4 equal. Oh, okay. Let's see in the command window. So yeah, P4 gives me the same thing, like give me the date, month, day, month, year. So what's the difference here and what's those curly brackets? Basically, like here, I used cell array. But over there, I used a character. Okay, why did I like choose to do both? Because I want to tell you guys that datetime can work with both. Like if you want to use cell array or if you want to use character, in both situations it will work. Okay, let's move forward. So yeah, those curly brackets, it's always the cell array. And we said before in previous episodes like how cell array can accept all different data types, because it's like very helpful for text or text like words. If you want to like write any like sentence or anything, cell array will be the function you would use. Okay, let's try this time but with a string. So without using datetime, I can just like create a string. Let's see, like 2016 3 4, maybe 2059. There's a lot of years in future, but doesn't matter. Okay, because I use the string, so I create my own format right now. So this is another option that give you like more freedom to be in your own rules, because this is not like date time has its own rules, as we said, like day, month, year, hour, and all this stuff. But a string, it's just like you can create everything you want, okay, between those double comma, and it will like return the same. So right now, if we press string, I have two string array, which is 2016 3 4, 2059 3 4. So it really like give you more freedom to use whatever format in whatever order you want. And like we create a string array and MATLAB will just convert it automatically for you to datetime values. Okay, now let's try, like I just wanna, please make sure you guys like take notes as we go, open MATLAB and try all the stuff step by step. Okay, so this was string arrays. Now let's try something like matrices. So matrices between those brackets. Okay, so let's create first the year. So semicolon like 2056 and then semicolon, this a new row. Same thing, semicolon. Now let's create the month. Maybe the month, let's make it just 09, like the same month for all the years, September. And then day 12, 13, 14. Okay, so I specify the year, month, and day. So right now, if I wanna use the date time, so date time do expect me to have a year, then a month, then a day, which is I already specify all of them. So right now we are creating a date time array, and we can see all the suggestions or recommendation for us, the year, month, day. And if we press run right now, we can see time is like he goes like order by order, like 12 is this is in the first like position, and gonna be aligned with 2056, and so on with 13, so on with 14, and it all has the same month, which is like September. So right now I have all the 3 rows, okay, multiply by just 1 column. Okay, so far so good. So let's move forward. Now let's explain concatenate, which is abbreviated for like cat as the animal function. Okay, so why we care about like concatenate? Simply it's the messenger for matrices because it join arrays together, and it has several options. We're gonna like talk specifically about them, but it just connects them in a very decent and organized way, and it's very helpful if you have like huge data that has like several amount of rows, several amount of columns, and you want to connect them together. Cat function is a function you would use for this. Okay, so let's try like create some arrays. So let's try is A's, ones, 3. So what's this? It's gonna give me a matrix of 3 multiplied by 3, which is like 3 columns by 3 rows by 3 columns, and it will be all ones. So right now if I press run section, it gives me like 3 multiplied by 3, and it's all ones. And if 4, it's gonna be 4 multiplied by 4, 5 multiplied by 5, and so on. Okay, so this is the first matrix. Second matrix, we can do the same, create an array of all zeros. Let's make it the same. Here we go. I have 3 by 3, and it's all zeros. 3 by 3 matrix, all zeros. So right now, if I press cat concatenate, so them is like dimension. So the first dimension, you're gonna connect, will be connected vertically. So those 3 will join those 3, but vertically. So ones will be upward, zeros will be downward. So let's try this. 0 is A and B. So right now, like if I press B capital, it's gonna give me an error because it's B capital versus B capital. So it's very important to see like this blue shading line. It means it matches one of the variables. So if it does matches one of the variables, then you are on the good track, or you are doing right in your coding. But if it doesn't, then you have to check what's wrong, whether like in maybe capital or small, maybe in your variables, like there is something wrong in your code. So right now, if we press run, here we go, both are connected together. Okay, what if we want to try two? Second dimension. So second dimension will be connected but horizontally. Here we go. So if I press run right now, it connects them, all the ones and then all the zeros. Okay, so we can take note here. One is connected them vertically, while two connecting them horizontally. Okay, what about 3? So 3 gives you 3D, which is of course like very powerful because this dimension. So first dimension, second dimension, third dimension. But it really depends on your data and whether you want to like connect them in 3D or not. So it really like depends on your goal. So like if we press run right now, it expected to be 3D, right? So it won't be obvious in matrices, but it will be obvious if we did plot or other usages. But it's very important to know like dem is just abbreviated for dimension. Okay, so let's now stick to 2. Okay, let's move forward. So this was very helpful for matrices. What if I wanna like have a messenger but for a string? So string like different words or different texts, and let's try this with a new function called append function. And as I said, this is very helpful but for string. So let's create like variable one. As I said, it's string, so string, we can write whatever we want, maybe like something like hello v2, it's me. Whoever like very big in songs, you would understand. Okay, let's connect them together if we want. Both are string, right? So now if we use append, so combine strings, and this is the actual function why we are explaining right now. And you do expect us to like input the strings that we did create earlier. So right now, if I press run section, I'm gonna give me hello, it's me. What if I create space here? Now it creates a space. So make sure that you are having the punctuation ready, all the like formatting that makes the output as like best way as you want. Okay, so append is for string. What if we try with characters? Let's try like character one. Maybe never, but character two. Say never. And let's put space here. Okay, same sequence. Let's try now like append. Okay, character one with character two. Here we go. Never say never. Never. Never say never. So append, moral of the story, does work with strings and it does work with characters as well. Okay. Okay, so now we have messenger for characters, we have messenger for string, and we said we have messenger also for matrices. Okay, so what if I want to have arrays? Is append will work with arrays? So let's see if this will work out. So let's create an array of like first names. So let's create something like Michael, maybe. Space is just the separation in a matrices. So if I have a space, it's similar as comma. Like if I press comma here, it will do the same job as a space and Johnny. Okay, so this is the first names. Let's create last names. So I want a first name dot last name. So let's press dot and let's write the last name, something like neck. Same concept. Dot Ray maybe. Dot Duke. It's I think Spanish name, I do believe. Okay, and then let's try append. So first names, comma, last names. And he said like string versus string. Like if any matrices with bunch of strings, you can also connect like with append, or it has like different formatting with different like variables, which make you think about append function in anything you want to connect, whether like it's matrices, a string, character. So right now, if we press run, I have my first name dot last name, first name dot last name, first name dot last name. Okay, so far so good. Now let's create a table from scratch. So we're gonna, in the beginning, we're gonna use one of the very easy and famous way of creating table. But as I said before in the previous episodes, any function has its own rules. And the function of table, in order not to have any errors, has two main rules. So the first rules, all variables must have the same size. And you can check this in the workspace, okay, the name and the size here. So if we now creating table and we want to like have the inputs of two variables, we have to make sure they matches the same size. Okay. Second thing, all values must have a name. So I cannot just bring any value in a table without having a variable name behind it. So like what I mean variable name, like here last name, I cannot just like remove this and write Nick, Ray, Duke, and then expecting it's gonna be like inserted in a table. But I have to give them a variable name and make an equal. So last names now in my workspace, so it's gonna be make sense with MATLAB to insert it in a table. So those two rules, all variables must have the same size, all values must have a name. Okay, so let's now create variables with names with all the same size. So we're gonna create a lot for sake of practice. And as I said, this very famous way to create any table. And it's very good to start with. Okay, so curly brackets, which is cell array, which is we said this will be one of the best if you wanna do any text. So let's create last name, something like John, then semicolon, then Michael, semicolon, then neck, semicolon. And as I said, semicolon creates a new row for you. Okay, then Nathan, and maybe like Brown. So as we can see, I have 5 values with this variable called last names. So if I want to create any variable, it must have also 5 values. So in order to match with the size. So right now, if I press run, I have last name, okay, which is 5 multiplied by 1. I have to make sure that when I do write any other variable, all of them must have 5 rows with just 1 column. So I have to make sure at every single time I will put semi, comma, in order to create for me a new row. So John, new row, Michael, new row, Nick, Nathan, Brown, all of this semicolon creates a new row. So this is the first variable. What if I want to specify like something like ages? So ages, it's numbers, and we said in the previous episodes that numbers is best with open brackets, and same concept, 5 variables. So 23, maybe 25, 33, 35, and 45, and comma. And I have to keep this in mind that 23 will matches John, and 25 will matches Michael, 33 will matches Nick, and 35 will matches Nathan, and 45, like it's all matches. The first position will match the first position in another variable and third variable. So all the first position will be related to each other, all the second position will be related to each other, and so on. Okay, so far so good. Let's keep going. Let's try something like athlete, and let's use something like logical. So logical, convert values to logicals. Logicals here means binary, 1 and zeros. 1 and 0 is basically, without going to any further explanation because it's very mathematical depend, but 1 and 0 is just like basically true or false. So 1 is true, so if I press like, I open brackets and I open like matrices, and now he expects 1 and 0. So if I press 1, then semicolon 0, then semicolon maybe 1, 1, 0. Close the bracket. Okay, so right now 1. So yeah, John is athlete, so I will put 1. Michael is not athlete, I put 0. Nick is athlete, 1. Nathan is athlete, so 1. Brown is not athlete, 0. So it's like positive and negative. If John is athlete, so it's positive, so it will be 1. If Michael is not athlete, it will be negative, so it's gonna be 0. We can change, or we can use this, it's very helpful. We can use this in different variables, like we can put smoking, we can put like 4.0 GPA, anything that needs true or false, we can use logical function with it. Okay, and as we can make a comment here, it's binary systems 0 and 1s. Okay, let's create something like height. As I said, it's numbers, so it will make sense with brackets. Let's create weight. Same thing, it's numbers, so same procedures. So 87, 99, 100, 80, 69. Okay, so if we press run right now, I want you guys to realize that all has the same size. Any variable we wrote here, all has the same size. So let's try to clear all to make this obvious for you guys. And now let's press run. All of them has the same size spontaneously. Okay. Now let's create something like date time. So date time gonna be critical here. So date, because it need a specific format. So we open a matrices and we're gonna use date time at every single thing. So we kind applying what we learned earlier in the episode using date time but in a table. So let's use a character. So you guys remember the same format. So day, okay, month, year, 2014. Okay, this closed. Then new row, same sequence, date time, okay, character, maybe 24 October but 2015. Same sequence. I must, as I said, I must have 5 values per each variable. Okay, so comma 24 October 2026. 24 October, but let's go further, 2027. Last one, because this is the fifth one, right? So date time 24 October 2028. Please, all of you guys, make sure that you do apply this as we go, step by step, because you guys don't know how picky is programming in like writing a like different letter or like instead of capital small. We mentioned this before, but I just like emphasize on this because this goes long way in your learning process. So right now I have a date, and if I want to see this in the command window, I have all the 5 dates simultaneously in front of me. Okay, let's create the last variable, which is blood type. It's a lot of variable, but I choose this in order for you guys to actually like practice the difference between string and numbers, or maybe date time, to insert whatever like any values you want, and all of this will give you confidence to create table on your own. So let's create like different blood types. So I did a mistake right now. Should be semicolon, right? Creating a new row. Semicolon A. I'm not sure how accurate the blood types are, but let's create this. Let's assume there is a blood type called A. Okay. And now we have a new variable called blood type. Okay, so after I did specify all my variables, let's now create the table, but let's review our table rules. So as we said, for any table to be created, we have to every values has a name under the variable, and it must be all have the same size. So right now when I look in my command workspace, all of them 5 multiplied by 1, so no errors should be appeared. So now let's create just a table. So equal, what's the function for table? Just table. Table array with named variables that contain different types. He said that his first rule, table arrays with named variables that contain different types. The second rule, all of them must have the same size. So let's try this. Okay, so first we want to have the last name, and it's crucial because I do have 2 last names, but which one? The one that matches the rest of them, which is 5 multiplied by 1, 5 rows with 1 column. So last names, then maybe ages, athlete, height, blood type, and finally date. And as I said, all of them has the blue color, the light blue color, which is give me confidence that I'm on the right track, and all of them matches the previous variables that I did specify in my workspace. Okay, so moment of truth. Okay, let's see. Here we go, that's beautiful. Okay, so it creates for me 5 rows with 6 columns because I have 6 different variables. All of them creates a table for me, last names, ages, athlete, height, blood type, and date. And if I want to see this in the workspace, so right now, if I press same thing, last name, ages, athlete, height, blood type, and date, you can create this for whatever columns you want, whatever rows you want, and it's very like famous way, and also like it's very important, as we said, like how you can create date, blood type, which is string, numbers, true or false. Like I just choose to create different data type to make you guys very comfortable of like doing different options or different stuff to be more creative in doing your own table. Okay, now let's try a different option in tables. So what if I wanna have row names and I wanna give name for every row? Like I wanna have here specific name, second name, third name, fourth name. How I can do this? So as I said, we can press option here and we can see row names. And row names, he expect names out of this. So I have already last name, and I must have 5 names because I do have 5 rows. So 5 names, a name per row. So what if I wanted the row names to be John the first row, Michael second, Nick third, Nathan fourth? How we can do this? As I said, like this an option is called row names. And if you want to do this, it's gonna be looks like. Okay, so okay, so let's. It just might take time. Okay, let's see this in the command window, and here we go. So I have John, Michael, Nick, Nathan, Brown. So run section might like sometimes take time in order to actually process. Like if you quick editing through your lines, it might not actually like catches until like you have to clear all the variables and like just make sure to highlight it. So here we go. As we said, like row names, it's all last names. So John first row, Michael second row, Nick, Nathan, Brown. You can choose different names, you can create your own names, but for the sake of time, I just choose the last names. So this is very helpful also, like if you wanna like maybe dates like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of all the same data, you can like adjust it as you want. So far so good. Now let's try indexing. Indexing, we explained this I believe in the first episode. And indexing, it's just how to reach different places in your own table, how to extract different data from your own table. So table indexing, and it's really goes long way because you might use different function like mean, average, and all this stuff for specific values in your table, and it's very helpful. It's just very helpful to know and crucial if you want to do like different application of it. So let's try something like average weight. We do have weight, right? So let's get the mean of the average weight in our table. So I have, oh, I forget the weight. Okay, so let's try one more comma and let's type weight. Here we go, it does added weight. So let's try now mean. So we are talking about indexing. One of the indexing, like the table is under T, right? So right now I will write T, it's the blue color, so I am on the right track. If I press dot, this indexing, because he's gonna give me all the available variables that I can choose that it will make the mean or the function that I do want. So right now average variable, if I press run, he give me the average weight is 87. So this all the weight, the average one is 87. Okay, or the mean, my bad. This is the mean, not the average. I don't know why I stuck to average. Okay, let's see. So what if I want to average? Or what if I want to like median? So I can choose all the different like function I do want. So same thing, average weight is 87. Okay, let's create the average height and let's try the same. It's gonna be like almost same procedure. So mean, same point of indexing. Okay, T dot and then height. So right now, if I press run, he gave me the average height to be 4074. So this all my height, the average one is 74, and so on. Like you can do this, but the point of indexing is just t the source and then dot, and he gonna give you different variables. Is this the only way? No, there is a lot of different ways. Okay. So what if I just wanna the first three rows of the table and ignore the rest? We are talking about five variables here, but you might have tables with like several variables with a lot of rows and columns. So okay, how I can do this? So let's try the first few rows. So same thing, the source, but this time I will open a bracket. Okay, so rows and columns. So I'm gonna specify I want the first row to the third row. Okay, comma. Now he expect me which column I do want. So I want all of them. So I press double dot, and then like if I press run, the first few rows are gonna give me the first three rows with the entire columns, with the 7 columns I do want. Okay, so I'm just told MATLAB I want to get from row number 1 to row number 3, and I want all the columns in those rows. Okay, now let's try with the last rows. Like this is my table. What if I want just the two rows? So instead of writing the number, okay, let's say you have 10,000 rows and you're not like, you're gonna be very hard to pick like the last two, or maybe like in the middle or something like that. So the other option we can do, it's last rows. Okay, same sequence is T and open, but MATLAB do understand end. End means like the last row, because especially when we are writing end in the row position. So if I write end, I can also do something like end minus 2, means like the end 1, but before the end by 2. So he gonna expect like Nathan and Brown. Okay, so end minus 2 to the end. So like from Nathan to Brown, like from end minus 2 to the end, which is Nathan and Brown. Okay, and we wanna all the columns. So now if we press run section, you're gonna give me the last three rows, which is okay. So I think I counted in a wrong way. So end minus 2, like this is the end, so minus 2 Nathan and Nick. Okay, if we make end minus 3, it's gonna give me Michael, Nick, Nathan and Brown, and so on. Okay, so start counting like above the end. So above the end is, this is my table. So end minus 3, right? So this is the end. 1, 2, 3. So you're gonna count it from here, and so on. Okay, so MATLAB do understand the end function. Okay, but what if like I wanna just specify the names instead of like creating all the columns, or I just wanna choose some specific columns among them? So we can do this by, let's create a new variable, finding by names. This will be equal, same sequence, T open bracket. So right now I wanna, for the rows, I wanna from row number 1 to row number 3 shown Michael Neck. Okay, but right now this is the columns, right? I will open a matrices, and he's helping me actually, like he give me all the options that I can choose, like he understands what I want to do. So the first column I do want is age, the second one maybe athlete. Okay, I'm gonna give me is just the first three rows of this, and I do expect it's gonna be just from two ages and athletes. So if I press run right now, here we go, the first three rows and just for those two columns without having the entire table for me. And we have a row names, right? So if you have a table, like here we have all the row names for every row. So also if you have this option in your table, you can find just some rows just by writing the row names. So how we can do this? Same thing. So same sequence almost. So let's finding by rows. So the source t, and then open a bracket, open a matrices, and now I'm gonna just find by row. So I wanna the brown row, John and Michael. Yeah, John and Michael. Here we go. Okay. Okay, which column I want from them? Maybe all of them. Yes. Oh, so this mistake. So this is the rows and then all of the column. Because it's all the matrices. So the matrices has all the rows and then comma and then my column. So how I did understand there is like a mistake or I'm doing something wrong here. So when I press run, when I press comma and then like double quotation, you guys like you can see this red dot or red like color over there means like something is wrong in your code. So then okay, I picked it up and then I like figure out this all for rows and then he needs the other position in the column. So when I did this, there is no red color, which is mean I'm on the right track. So right now, if I press find by rows, I get find by rows if just the rows that I did specify in my code, and he gave me all the column. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now let's see if I wanna add or like do a calculation to an entire variable or column in my table. What should I do in this position? I mean, it's really heavy in indexing and like adding variables. It does sound easy here, but like I'm pretty sure a lot of data has several of data. So that's why it does make sense. Like here we're applying on just 5 variables, but as I said before, imagine if you have like 10,000 variable or something like that. You will never go to the table and search for a specific variable, but using indexing, it will be life-changing experience if you did that. Okay, so now, as I said, let's try to add or subtract in my variable. So let's like add, I have ages, right? So let's clear this and let's see our table. I have ages. What if I want to add all of those ages, a 5, maybe 5 age more? What should I do? So as I said, same way. So I have the t, I have the dot, I specify ages. This is the variable, okay? And then equal, same thing, t dot ages. So now variable t dot ages, and I'm telling MATLAB that I want t dot ages, but right now I want to have plus 5. So if I press run, so now the age, the first John age is 23. If I press run, John age is 28. Now Michael is 30. Now 38, 40, 50. What if I want to add 10 years? Now 50, 60, 48, 40, 38, and so on. Okay, let's try this with height. So same sequence, height. Okay, this is my variable, and then so I wanna t dot height, same sequence plus 30. Okay, so let's so this is the height 71, 89, 56, 75, 80. So brown was 80. Right now, if I press run, brown will be 110. Okay, I can make like 80. So instead of 110, brown height would be 190, which is crazy. So, but yeah, anyway, what I wanna get out of this, the takeaway is that you can edit, add or subtract anything you want from table indexing. Okay, it's very helpful for even unit conversion or any change you want to do to any of your variables. So finally, right now, we reach the time for our mini assignment. Okay, I want this assignment from you guys. Okay, first one, to create and format date time values, including time zones and customs format. Okay, second, build a datetime array from year, month, and day. It's basically you are applying this, but like feel free to be creative, feel free to like modify on what we used, like try different examples in your mind, try different like values, maybe different usages. The third task is concatenate matrices with function cat. Okay, force one, create two different text and connect them by append function. Fifth one, create 7 different variables, name with values, and represent them inside a table, then try indexing as we practiced earlier and adding values to some of the variables. So as I said before, I'm very big in many assignment. I'm very big also to encourage you guys always to have your MATLAB open to practice, because I think this is the way I did learn. I'm feeling this is the way for any programmer or to learn anything in life. Practice, practice, practice every day. Make your hands dirty. I'm always like writing mistakes. I'm always like finding mistakes as I go, because I try, because I'm the one who is writing. You will never find a mistakes by yourself unless you are trying to do some other things to figure out some mistakes and then learn from those mistakes, and this what make you experienced or better programmer or better MATLAB or any other like thing. Practice always makes permanent. Finally, now we have reached to the end of our episode. Make sure that you did right and tried everything by your own. Feel free to do the mini assignment and leave comments for any questions. As always, 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 programming about practice, and practice makes permanent. Thank you all and see you next episode.